at the home. And as 2025 does come to a close, we're taking a look back at some of the biggest news stories that happened right here in the heartland. Nikki Clark highlights some of the major political stories we shared this year.
In the world of politics, national headlines had big local consequences.
Tariffs.
The tariffs.
Tariffs impacted plenty of local businesses, from fireworks.
That's 30% more than what we have ever paid before.
To your wine.
Mostly felt by your friends and neighbors in the restaurant and wine business.
And even your Christmas shopping.
I cannot commit to not knowing what I'm going to pay for something.
People in the heartland felt the impact of rising costs in 2025.
We use eggs every single day.
Egg prices caused local bakeries to change things up.
We're going to start doing a lot of things in-house, whereas before we sought out other people. Prices will go up a little bit, and then we'll start looking at profit margins on some of the items maybe we don't sell a lot of, and start cutting supplies that way.
But it didn't stop at eggs.
We actually were scrambling. I had a cake order that I needed to fill, and we were looking for some dark cocoa powder, and it was really, really hard for me to find it.
And coffee prices have nearly doubled since last year.
Once it reached kind of a critical mass and we realized we were losing money on far more items than we'd previously been absorbing those costs on, then we chose to make an across-the-board change.
2025 finally saw the enforcement of Real ID at America's airports.
We're telling everyone, please get your Real ID to make it a lot easier.
The law, first passed in 2005, had frequent flyers rushing to the DMV to update their driver's license.
I've got some trips planned for this summer, so I want to make sure I'm prepared.
It's going to affect the programming that we carry nationally. I do think that it will help us kind of narrow our focus a little bit.
And Congress passed a bill cutting more than $1 billion in funding for public broadcasting for the next 2 years. The move affected WSIU in Carbondale and KRCU in Cape Girardeau. KRCU took on the challenge by meeting the largest pledge drive goal in the station's history, $100,000.
It makes us realize that people value what we do, they appreciate what service the station provides, and it tells us that we're on the right track, and we'll keep doing what we're doing because the listeners enjoy it and they like it.
There was plenty of chatter around legislation in the Show Me state. In August, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe announced a special session.
Missouri's conservative common sense values, rooted in faith, family, and freedom, should be truly represented at all levels of government, local, state, and federal.
During that session, lawmakers joined the national redistricting fight and drew a new congressional map that would give the party 7 of the 8 congressional districts in the state. This caused tensions between the two parties.
Strategy-wise, Dems don't have a whole lot of tools in our tool belt in terms of stopping this redistricting process.
I don't think it's wrong that we're taking another look.
Sports betting, finally legal in the state of Missouri.
It's a great environment to come and watch sports, and we invite everybody to come down to have this new experience. Anytime we can add an additional amenity that can bring people in, we're the only retail sports book between St. Louis and Memphis, so another regional opportunity for people to come and have a new experience.
Casinos across the state and here locally opened up new sportsbook areas with screens, bars, and new amenities. Former Cape Girardeau County Coroner Wavis Jordan was found guilty of 3 felonies and a misdemeanor in his criminal trial.
It was a relief. I was holding my breath the whole time the judge outlined each count.
Jordan must now complete 4 years of supervised probation, which includes fines and community service, and if he does, those felonies basically drop off his record.
He had to listen to that. And so at the end of the day, even if it wasn't the outcome I wanted, he will forever have to hear exactly how he made me and my family and everyone in this room feel.
And a contract dispute between the city of Cape Girardeau and the firefighters union comes to a head.
The city of Cape Girardeau has violated our constitutional bargaining rights. They've stripped firefighters of their benefits and made decisions that threaten public safety.
With your year in review, Nikki Clark, Heartland News.